Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto husband of Shinigami. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. This world was not always what it is today. In ancient times when the Biju first awoke in this world, they brought destruction and misery upon the humans. The Shinigami, death god, did not wish for more blood to be spilled pointlessly. He used his power to transform the souls of the bravest human and beast alike into his warriors. We humans call them guardians. The 8 guardians fought against the Biju whenever they appeared, stopping them from destroying what the humans worked so hard to build. Peace settled over the lands and the people thanked the Shinigami for this blessing he bestowed upon them. However, as we all know, peace never lasts as long as we like it to. The guardians turned upon the world one by one, and along with the Biju they destroyed everything in their path despite the Shinigami's orders for them to stop. Only one guardian remained loyal to the Shinigami. He pleaded to his master to seal the guardians away to stop them from destroying everything. The Shinigami was saddened by this but was left with little choice. He used his power and was about to swallow his servants. But in the end he could not, so he sealed them away forever instead. To this day they have never been seen, but the Biju were now free to do as they liked. The Shinigami could now only watch as the Biju were free to destroy the world. He cursed his weakness. He knew that the guardians were turning evil but did nothing to stop them. He bestowed upon the humans a sealing technique to stop them in his place. Itachi closed the book he had been reading to his little brother. Itachi was 8 years old and had graduated the academy 2 days ago. Since there were no teams with an open spot, Itachi was going to do D-rank mission until there was an opening. My first missions as a genin is to baby-sit my little brother. He thought and looked at the sleeping form of his 3-year-old little brother Sasuke. Sasuke suddenly started sucking on his thumb, making the older Uchiha smile. He pulled up the cover to keep Sasuke warm. But I guess it could be worse. 2 years later, a 10-year-old Itachi was walking down the streets of Konoha with a 5-year-old Sasuke. Itachi had been a chunin for a little more than a week. He was not in the best of mode. He just had an argument with his father about taking Sasuke for lunch at the local ramen stand. Fugaku didn't think that Uchiha should lower themselves to eat such simple food. He also added that such food was bad for you and would lower your abilities. Itachi sighed at his father's stupid pride. Sure, ramen was not a healthy food to eat, but you could just train to work of the calories. Lately Fugaku was forcing Itachi to go through harder and harder training to improve his abilities. Itachi didn't mind training, but Fugaku kept telling him to train to uphold the Uchiha pride. Fugaku never praised Itachi's abilities as a shinobi, only his abilities as an Uchiha. It was starting to piss him off a bit. He felt a tug on his shirt and looked down on Sasuke. Yes? Are you okay, Nissan? Brother, you look angry. Sasuke said innocently. Itachi ruffled Sasuke's hair and smiled. I'm okay, I just think a Tucson, father, can be stupid sometimes. He said. Sasuke nodded. Yeah, tell me about it. He won't train me at all, he keep telling me that he is busy training you. Itachi raised an eyebrow. Really? I can train by myself just fine, I will talk to him later. He said, and Sasuke beamed at him. Suddenly they heard a lot of angry voices heading their way. They saw a young blonde boy about Sasuke's age running for his life. The boy ran into an ally that Itachi knew was a dead end. Then 5 civilians, judging by their clothing, armed with different kind of sharp objects, ran into the same ally. Itachi suddenly felt a cold shiver run down his spine. They wouldn't, he said quietly, feeling Sasuke tighten the grip on his hand. The question was quickly answered by a cry of pain coming from the ally. Itachi dashed toward the ally. He reached it in a couple of seconds and saw 5 people beating and stabbing the child. Itachi felt something he had never felt before, the urge to make these bastards suffer beyond reason. He quickly went through a set of hand seals. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. Fire element. Great fireball technique. He exhaled a large fireball, giving all the attackers 3rd-degree burns. They cried out in pain as they fell onto the ground. Itachi jumped over them and looked at the horrible state of the blonde boy's body. The child was crying and whimpering. Please no more, he said. Itachi picked him up and walked out of the ally. Sasuke stopped in front of his brother and was shocked at the sight of all the blood. What happened, Nissan? Sasuke asked. Itachi looked at his little brother. I can't explain now Sasuke, I have to get him to the hospital. Itachi said. Sasuke nodded. Okay, go, I will be fine. He said. Itachi gave his brother a proud smile before running full speed towards the hospital. How could they do something like that, and why did nobody try to help him? He wondered as he saw his destination getting closer. He stopped when two Anbu and none other than the Sandame landed in front of him. Oh, thank Kami you found him, Itachi-kun. I saw him being chased but I was afraid I wouldn't make it. The old man said while the silver-haired Anbu with the dog mask walked over and took Naruto from him. Take him to the hospital. Sarutobi said, and the dog-masked Anbu disappeared in a puff of smoke. Itachi sighed slightly. Sandame-sama, he said, and the old man looked down at him. How could anybody do something like that? Sarutobi's eyes were filled with sadness. Some people in this village are blind to the truth, Itachi-kun, that is all I can say. Itachi didn't quite get it, but he was in no position to question his leader. His eyes widened slightly. I must go, Hokage-sama, please excuse me, he said and bowed slightly to the old man before running back towards his little brother. Sarutobi smiled at the young boy. Itachi, you are a good kid. Who knows, you might even become the next Hokage. Itachi ran back and found Sasuke running towards him. Nissan, the little Uchiha shouted. Itachi stopped in front of Sasuke and bent down to his eye level. Are you okay, Sasuke? Itachi asked. Sasuke nodded. Yeah, I'm fine, Nissan. What happened with the blonde guy? Hokage-sama made one of his Anbu take him to the hospital. Itachi replied. Sasuke looked a bit worried. You think the blonde guy will be okay? I'm sure he will be alright. If you want we can go and check on him after we had lunch. Itachi said, earning a smile and a nod from Sasuke. After having lunch at Ichiraku Ramen, Itachi and Sasuke made their way to the hospital. To their surprise, they found Sarutobi walking out of the building with Naruto. Like you didn't know who the blonde kid was? Oh, Itachi-kun, what are you doing here? The old man asked. Sasuke hid behind Itachi's leg, having never met the Hokage before. I actually came to see if he was okay, Itachi said, pointing at Naruto, who looked slightly nervous. How did he recover so fast? Itachi thought to himself. Sarutobi could not help but smile at the young Uchiha. That is very kind of you, Itachi-kun. Well, Naruto-kun here is fine because you got to him in time. Naruto's eyes widened. You're the one who saved me? He asked, and Itachi nodded. Naruto walked over to Itachi and bowed, surprising the old man as he never bowed to him or showed respect. Thanks for saving me, Itachi-san, Naruto said. Itachi was about to reply but tackled Naruto to the ground as a Fuma shuriken almost hit the small blonde. Itachi was back on his feet, Sharingan blazing. The man who threw the projectile was already subdued by the same dog-masked Anbu he saw before. The Hokage was livid and glared at the man. Take him to Ibiki, was all he said, and the dog-masked Anbu disappeared. Itachi deactivated his Sharingan and looked down at the small boy who was trembling. I didn't do anything, Why? Sarutobi calmed himself before addressing Itachi. Itachi-kun, please take Naruto to the Uchiha compound and watch over him until I get there. Itachi nodded. Yes, Hokage-sama, but my Tucson might not like it. If Fugaku have any problems with it, he can speak to me about it. Sarutobi said and bent down to Naruto's level. I have to go, Naruto, but stay with Itachi-kun and Sasuke-kun. Naruto wiped his tears and nodded. Sarutobi sent one more look at Itachi before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Itachi sighed and looked down at the two younger children. Well, Naruto-kun, looks like you're coming with us, he said, and got a weak smile from Naruto. Sasuke looked at the blonde. My name is Sasuke, nice to meet you, he said, smiling slightly. Naruto looked at Sasuke for a moment before smiling back. I'm Naruto. The trip back to the compound was uneventful except the glares Naruto received. Itachi was not looking forward to his father hearing about Naruto's presence on the compound. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw his mother in the doorway. Itachi, Sasuke, where have you two been? She asked. She was surprised when she saw Naruto standing beside Sasuke. Oh, who is this? She asked as she walked over. Naruto seemed a little nervous, so Itachi answered. This is Naruto. He will be staying here on Hokage-sama's orders, he said. Hello, he said quietly. Makoto looked at the boy for a moment before smiling slightly. Well, hello, Naruto-kun. My name is Makoto. I am Itachi and Sasuke's Okasan. Mother, she said. Naruto smiled slightly. Nice to meet you, Makoto-san. Sasuke-chan, why don't you take Naruto to your room and play for a bit? I want to talk to Itachi. She said, and Sasuke dragged Naruto to his room. When the children were out of hearing range, Makoto turned to Itachi. Why is he here, Itachi? He was attacked twice. Itachi replied. What do you mean attacked? Makoto asked. Exactly what it sounded like. He was attacked in the middle of the day. He would have been killed if I hadn't been there. Makoto's eyes widened. Who tried to kill him? She asked. First it was 5 civilians, and then when he came out of the hospital, 1 shinobi tried to kill him right in front of the Hokage. Makoto was shocked. Sure, she knew that the Kyuubi was inside of him, but to try and kill a child without remorse. How could they even think about doing something like that? Itachi shook his head. I don't know, but they are scum, he said and clenched his fist. Makoto looked at her son. Itachi, you almost never show feeling except when you're around Sasuke. The rest of the day passed by without much trouble. Fugaku was about to throw Naruto out, but Itachi said it was a direct order from the Hokage, so Fugaku left him alone. It was almost a new day when the Hokage knocked on the door. He was currently sitting in the kitchen with Fugaku and Makoto drinking tea. I hope Naruto haven't been too much trouble? He asked. Makoto smiled. No, Sandame-sama, he was no trouble at all. Fugaku snorted. Perhaps not, but I will be glad once you take that thing from my house. Sarutobi's eyes darkened slightly. Naruto is not a thing, Fugaku, he is a child. Put a pretty ribbon on a monster and it is still a monster. He said, I really hoped you could see that Naruto is not a monster, Fugaku. But I suppose that Sharingan of yours isn't up to the task. Sarutobi said. Fugaku decided to not reply to the insult and merely asked, when are you removing that thing from my property? Fugaku. Makoto said, making both men in the room look at her. Maybe he should stay here. Have you lost your mind, Makoto? Fugaku asked. No, but Itachi told me that poor kid was attacked. I cannot let him go when he might be killed. That's enough. Fugaku screamed, shocking the other occupants of the room. You see? That thing has already affected you, we should kill him before he. Fugaku stopped when the door opened. Atusan, you should keep it down, people are trying to sleep. Itachi said as he stepped into the room. Itachi, go to bed, this does not concern you. Fugaku said. I agree with Okasan, Naruto should stay here. Fugaku was shocked, first his wife, now his eldest son. That the demon could manipulate the Hokage and his wife he could understand, but Itachi was an Uchiha, he could not be manipulated so easily. Before he could say anything, Itachi spoke again. I watched him play with Sasuke today. I have never seen Sasuke having fun like that. It would do him good to have friend. No, I will not have Uzumaki under this roof, he is too dangerous. Fugaku said, cursing the Sandame's law. You mean that the Kyuubi inside of him is dangerous? Itachi said. The occupants of the room were stunned. The Sandame choked on his tea and started coughing. When he recovered, he looked at Itachi. How could you possibly? Itachi smiled. Because you just told me. Sarutobi cursed his mouth. But how could you even think of it? Tried to figure out why the villagers hated him so much that they would resort to violence. He had to have done something horrible. So I looked in the library for recent events that would cause something like that. First would have been the Hyuga kidnapping that almost happened, but that made no sense, so I looked into the second most recent event. He paused slightly, the Kyuubi attack 5 years ago, on the same year Naruto was born. But the history books clearly state that my successor defeated the Kyuubi at the cost of his own life. Sarutobi said. Itachi smiled. Yes, but I remembered a book I once read to Sasuke. It basically said that the Biju could not be defeated by human hands. So the Shinigami created a sealing technique to stop them. Sarutobi sighed heavily. You're a very bright boy, Itachi-kun. But you don't seem to hate Naruto. As serious as this situation was, Sarutobi could not help but be impressed with Itachi. Itachi shook his head. No, I don't hate him. How anyone could blame him for the Kyuubi attack is beyond me. That does not change the fact that the seal might break. Fugaku said, should it break, we will all surely die. There is no need to doubt the Yondaime's sealing skills. Sarutobi said, narrowing his eyes at Fugaku. I believe that you are merely looking for a reason to hate him. Fugaku glared at the old man. Can you truly prove that the seal will never break? He asked, and the Sandame could not answer. But if you truly wish for Naruto to stay under this roof, then how about we make a bet? What kind of bet? Sarutobi asked, not trusting Fugaku. Hitaki Kakashi became Junin at the age of 13, correct? Yes, but I don't see what this have anything to do with this. I was getting to that, Hokage-sama. Fugaku said. Itachi is an Uchiha, so his skills should match those of Kakashi. My bet is that if Itachi make it into Anbu before the age of 14, then I swear upon the name of Uchiha Madara that I will let Uzumaki live here for as long as he likes. And if Itachi fails? Sarutobi asked. If Itachi should fail, Uzumaki will be executed. I will never agree with something like that. Sarutobi said, glaring at Fugaku. Then remove him from my house this instant. Fugaku replied, but think about it, Hokage-sama. If Itachi succeeds, then Naruto will never have to fear the villagers again since my clan will protect him. And if he fails, Uzumaki will at least live here in safety for 3 years, and the threat of Kyuubi will be gone forever. The answer is, Sarutobi was interrupted by Itachi. I agree with my Atu-san. Itachi said, if Naruto must die, then let him be happy until then. If he leaves this house, then you must put him under surveillance or he will be attacked and may be killed before you can get to him. I cannot gamble with his life like that. Sarutobi protested. Please Hokage-sama, just trust me. I am high Chunin level already, in 3 years I will definitely be Anbu quality. I can't. Hokage-sama, please trust my son, he will succeed. Naruto is not safe on his own, Makoto said. The old man could only look at the Uchihas in the room, until finally he lowered his head. Naruto will be staying here under the protection of your clan, and if Itachi fails to become part of Anbu in 3 years, Naruto will be executed. He said in a defeated tone. Good, then it is settled. Fugaku said. This is perfect. The old fool will never be able to deny Itachi a position in Anbu now. Now I just need to train him to be as strong as possible before then. And when the time comes we will kill the old man and the Kyuubi brat. Madara-sama Konoha will rise to its former glory. The 3 years at the Uchiha compound was the greatest time in Naruto's short life. He played with Sasuke when they were not receiving training from Itachi or Makoto, since Sasuke thought it would be unfair to Naruto if he was the only one who received training. The problem with this was that no one except Itachi and Makoto would train the boys because they refused to help the demon child. However, Naruto was having trouble with his training. No scratch that Naruto couldn't perform any ninjutsu no matter how hard he tried. Not only did he have problems with the Kaiden, fire element, jutsus of the Uchiha clan, but also normal jutsu like Henge and Bunshin. No one could figure it out. Itachi with his Sharingan could see that Naruto performed it perfectly. He molded the chakra just right but used more than necessary, but that should only increase the power of the Kaiden jutsus. It went to the point when they took Naruto to the hospital to have him checked. But the doctors could find no problems with his chakra system. But a young boy by the name of Rock Lee had the same problem, so they figured they were somehow connected. So Naruto focused all his power on taijutsu to compensate for it. But neither Makoto nor Itachi were taijutsu specialists, so they could only teach the boys so much. In the Hokage office 2 years from the start of the bet, Sarutobi was sitting behind his desk with Itachi and Naruto in front of him, but Lee was also sitting there slightly nervous. I must say, Itachi, this is a great idea. The old man said and smiled at the young Junin. If you are up to it, Naruto, you and Lee, you will both receive taijutsu lessons from Guy starting today. Arigato Hokage-sama, Lee said loudly and bowed his head at the Hokage. Yeah, thanks Oji-san, Naruto said and got a startled look from Lee, while Sarutobi only laughed. You will still go to the academy though, so you will have to follow Guy's morning routine. If you wish to train early or train after academy time. Okay, sure. When does he start? Naruto asked. Sarutobi smirked. 5 in the morning. The old man said, counting on them both to be horrified. Naruto and Lee both got very determined expressions. I get up 5 in the morning to train with Itachi-san and Sasuke every day, bring it on. Naruto shouted. Yash, I will not let it stop me from succeeding. Lee shouted equally loud. Both boys smiled at each other. It was the beginning of a strong friendship. Sarutobi smiled. Good, now get going. Guy is waiting at the bottom of the tower. Both boys bowed and ran out of the door. I will take my leave then, Hokage-sama, Itachi said and got up. Actually, Itachi, stay, I wish to talk to you. The old man said, having dropped the honorific months ago. Itachi sat down again. You truly seem to care about Naruto a great deal, don't you? Itachi was surprised by the question but answered, when I first meet him I could tell that he was special. At first I just wanted to make sure he lived, but I can't deny that I think of him as a second little brother. You cannot spend time with him and not start to like him. Sarutobi chuckled. I am sure both Hiashi and his daughter would agree with you. Itachi showed one of his rare smiles. Yes, I believe you are correct, Hokage-sama, he said, and remembered what his mother had told him. 1 month after the bet was made, Makoto had taken the boys to the park to play while Itachi was on a mission. The day went peacefully. No one tried to force Naruto at the playground or screamed at him. Is this seat taken? A voice asked Makoto, who looked up to see a very pregnant Hyuga Amy. No, not at all, Amy, please sit down, Makoto said and moved slightly to let the slightly blue-haired woman sit down. Amy smiled and slowly sat down. Thank you, Makoto, she said, and then turned to her side and her 5-year-old daughter Hyuga Hinata. Hinata dear, why don't you go and play? She said. Hinata seemed a little uncertain but walked off nonetheless. She is such a sweet child but she is terribly shy, Amy said. Yes, but as you say, she is a sweet child, Makoto said. Just like my Sasuke and Itachi sometimes. I miss having you two over at my house. Where have you been? Amy asked, pouting. Makoto laughed. I'm sorry, Amy, but I have been busy training Sasuke and his new friend. Ami's eyes widened slightly. New friend? Yes, the blonde child over there with Sasuke, Makoto replied. Amy looked over at the playground and saw Hinata sitting next to Sasuke and Naruto. That is Uzumaki Naruto, right? Makoto suddenly felt slightly nervous. Yes, he is such a sweet child, despite what this village put him through. Amy nodded and absently stroked her belly. If anyone tried to treat my Hinata like that, I would beat them to a bloody pulp. Makoto felt relieved. I'm so glad to hear you say that. Kami, God. Know that he needs all the allies he can get. Amy turned to her friend and smiled. Say, why don't you bring him and Sasuke over to the Hyuga compound? I'm sure Hinata would love to have someone to play with. Makoto thought about it and nodded. Sounds great, how about we go now? You shouldn't sit on this hard bench in your condition. Amy pouted. Are you saying I'm going to break the bench because I'm fat? Makoto laughed and hugged her friend. Of course not, Amy-chan, but it is not good for your back. Amy smiled at her friend and they both went to collect the children. Amy suddenly stopped and Makoto turned to look at her and saw a huge wet stain on her dress. Oh my god. Needless to say, Amy was rushed to the hospital, and now Makoto was sitting with 3 5-year-olds, of which one was fidgeting and casting glances at the room her mother was in. Don't worry, Hinata-chan, Amy-chan will be alright and you will have a little sister, Makoto said, trying to calm down the young girl. But what if something happens? Hinata asked. Naruto suddenly walked over to her and wrapped his arms around her, giving her a hug. The poor girl blushed crimson. Naruto-kun, what are you doing? She asked. Naruto smiled. I'm giving you a hug. That always makes me feel better, he said. Makoto smiled at the small blonde. She remembered the first time she gave him a hug. Flashback. Makoto opened the door to Sasuke's room and saw him sleeping peacefully in his bed. She closed the door and walked past Naruto's room. She heard a strange sound coming from the room and opened the door. She saw Naruto tossing and turning. She heard faint mumbling, "No, stop, don't." Her maternal instinct took over and she gently shook him awake. Naruto, Naruto, wake up. He shot up all covered in sweat. He looked around panicky, not recognizing where he was. Where am I? He said, sounding terrified. Makoto hugged him, trying to calm him down, but he started struggling. What are you doing? Makoto hushed him. I'm hugging you, Naruto. Have you never gotten a hug before? No, never, sob, he chalked out. Makoto tightened her embrace. Shush, 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 it's okay, Naruto, shush, shush, shush. Naruto held onto her, sobbing quietly until he fell asleep. Makoto tucked him in and sat next to his bed for a couple of minutes. You poor child, she said quietly. Flashback end. After that, he would sometimes walk up to her when no one else was around and ask if he could have a hug. It truly pained her to see him afraid to ask for such a simple thing. Naruto and Hinata sitting in a tree. Sasuke started singing, making Naruto blush and pull away from the still blushing Hinata. Shut up, Uke-chan, Naruto said, making Sasuke frown. Uke-chan, Uke-chan. Makoto sighed at the two boys. Hiyashi had arrived only seconds later to see the boys bickering and Hinata blushing. He turned to Makoto, who just smiled. Hinata saw her father and ran over to him. "Atu-san," she said, and rushed over to him and hugged his leg. Hiyashi bent down and picked up his daughter. But before he could say anything to her, a loud wail was heard from the other side of the door. A female doctor exited the room and smiled at Hiyashi. "Congratulations, Hiyashi-sama. The birth went perfectly. You may see your wife now," she said, and stepped aside as Hiyashi walked in, still carrying Hinata. Makoto smiled again and looked down at the two boys. "We should probably go now. Let's leave those three alone," she said, and walked off with the two boys. "Makoto, get your butt in here right now," Amy shouted. Makoto's sweat dropped while Naruto and Sasuke looked frightened. Present date. A cough brought Itachi out of memory lane. "Sorry, Hokage-sama," he said. Sarutobi just smiled. "No problem, Itachi, now I didn't ask you to stay for small talk," the old man said, and Itachi straightened slightly. "The reason I asked you to stay is that I would like to congratulate you." Itachi blinked. "I'm afraid I don't follow, Hokage-sama. I wish to congratulate you for your acceptance into Anbu," Sarutobi said. Itachi smiled again. "Thank you, Hokage-sama." The Sandame wished that Itachi would show more emotion, but could tell he was happy. He opened one of his drawers and pulled out a Anbu mask looking like a weasel. "Wear it proudly, Itachi, you deserve it." Itachi stood up and took the mask and bowed. "Thank you, Hokage-sama." Itachi looked at the mask and raised an eyebrow. "Hokage-sama, this is an Anbu captain mask." Sarutobi leaned back into his chair. "Yes, it is, Itachi." Itachi bowed again. "I will not disappoint you, Hokage-sama." Yet another year passed. Naruto and Sasuke had become good friends with Hinata, but Makoto and Amy could tell that Hinata was looking at Naruto a little differently than she looked at any other boy. Hiyashi had, to the surprise of Makoto and Amy, had no protest about Naruto playing with Hinata. Makoto had expected Hiyashi to view Naruto like many other villagers and her own husband, she added sadly. Maybe it was because Naruto always made Hinata smile and laugh. Unknown to both women, Hiyashi had noticed that Hinata was very motivated during her training sessions whenever Naruto was around, and she also became less shy the more time she spent with the blonde boy. But sadly, not all was well. Makoto and Itachi noticed that Fugaku became more and more distant and cold during the 3 years since Naruto arrived at the compound. Makoto had no idea what could cause her husband to become so cold. Itachi, on the other hand, knew, and it terrified him. During his career as a shinobi, he was never meet an opponent he could at least fight on even ground or stall until help came. But his teacher, who had taught him, trained him and driven him, that man he truly feared, because he stood no chance. 1 month after the bet was made, Itachi had just gotten his gear and prepared to leave on his mission. He said goodbye to his mother and 2 little brothers. He was just by the border of fire country in the Valley of the End when he meets his father. "Atu-san, what are you doing here?" Itachi asked. "I told you this would be a training mission, didn't I?" his father replied. Itachi nodded. "Then obviously you need someone to train you. So you will be training me, Atu-san?" Itachi asked, annoyed at the fact that he would not be free of his father for a month. "No, actually, but I am here to introduce you to your new sensei, teacher. He should be here soon." Right on cue, a man appeared out of the forest walking towards the duo. "Hello, Fugaku-san, sorry I am late, but a black cat crossed my path." Itachi raised an eyebrow at the figure. He wore strange clothing, a black cloak with red clouds and a straw hat on his head. But the thing that stood out most for Itachi was the orange swirl-shaped mask on his face. "You are my new sensei?" Itachi asked, too surprised to be wary of the man. Fugaku seemed a little nervous, but the man just waved his hand. "Yep, that would be me," he answered casually. Fugaku bowed to the man. "It is an honor to meet you again, Tobi-sama." Tobi looked at Fugaku and smiled, "Not that you could see it." "Haha, Fugaku-san, there is no need to use that silly little nickname. After all, since I am going to train Itachi, he should know his sensei's name." "Then what is your name, sensei?" Itachi asked. Tobi seemed happy, so he turned back to Itachi. "My name is Uchiha Madara," he said, and a Sharingan appeared in his eye. Itachi's eyes narrowed. "You're an Uchiha named after the founder of our clan?" Madara smiled again. "Not that you could tell. Oh, you done your homework, I see, good. Saves me the time of introducing myself." Itachi didn't like this man. Something about him rubbed Itachi the wrong way. You actually want me to believe that you are Uchiha Madara? That's impossible, you would be over 100 years old. Pretty much, let me tell you that living this long is not easy, it takes a ton of work. Madara replied, seemingly humored by the young boy. But if you don't want to believe me, then that is your problem. I'm just here to train you. Come, let me see what you can do. Itachi scoffed at the fool but got ready anyway. Present day. Itachi had been completely defeated by Madara, not a single blow hit the man no matter what he did. Itachi had figured out that Madara had used some sort of Sharingan technique, but no matter where he searched in the Uchiha library he found nothing on that particular jutsu. Even the scroll hidden beneath the Uchiha shrine gave only vague clues except that it had to be a Mangekyo Sharingan technique. It also described how to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan, which sickened Itachi. Kill his best friend. His clan had been doing this for such a long time in hopes of gaining power. But the thing that frightened Itachi was that the Sharingan had the power to control the Kyuubi. Madara, you bastard, you made Kyuubi attack Konoha and ruined Naruto's life and killed so many people. He clenched his fists. Itachi was lost. In 3 days' time he was ordered to murder his entire clan. He had asked Madara why. The bastard had only laughed before giving him an ultimatum. You can refuse and fight me to your death and I will kill everyone of the Uchiha clan, or you can help me and I will let you spare your little brother. He had already made Itachi murder his best friend to gain the Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi was not even sad, he had discovered what kind of person Shisui truly was. Itachi punched a nearby tree, leaving a large dent in it before turning back to the river in front of him. Frustrated Itachi? A voice Itachi didn't want to hear said. He turned around and saw Madara. I came to inform you that the plan will be executed in 2 days' time instead of 3, seems Fugaku is growing suspicious. Madara said and disappeared. Itachi turned back to the river again. Sasuke, Naruto, Okasan, please forgive me. He said quietly to himself. Itachi decided what to do. He would make Sasuke and Naruto hate him, then they would seek power and one day kill him. Next day, Itachi had just gotten his gear on and was walking toward the door. Nissan. He turned around and saw Sasuke and Naruto standing behind him. Can you show me and Naruto a new jutsu? Sasuke asked innocently. It pained Itachi to even look at the young children. Sorry Sasuke, I have to go on a mission, and Naruto can't learn any jutsu. He added. Naruto looked down, making Itachi feel worse. He looked at Sasuke, who pouted. You're always busy with missions when we ask you. Itachi had to get away, he couldn't deal with them right now. He bent down and gestured for them to come at him. Both boys smiled and ran towards him. He raised his hand to poke Sasuke in the forehead, but Sasuke dodged and jumped at Itachi, who was slightly startled and leaned backwards to dodge. But Naruto crashed into him, making all 3 of them land in a pile on the ground. Both of the 2 children laughed and hugged Itachi. We got you, Nissan, they said at the same time. Itachi raised an eyebrow. Naruto had never called him Nissan before but seemed not to notice. On a whim Itachi sat up and hugged both boys. Kami-sama, forgive me, he thought. Day of the massacre. It had been such a nice day, birds singing and crap like that. In the evening, however, things went horribly wrong. Itachi started the massacre with the help of Madara and soon bodies littered the streets. Itachi was shocked. Not a single member of the clan was a good person, they were all consumed by greed and lust for power. His aunts, his uncles, his cousins, all were corrupt. Itachi realized why Madara wanted them dead. They were fools who would put any plan he conceived into jeopardy. They were too proud of their lineage to even understand what kind of power they were fighting. Madara killed anyone who attacked him with ease, and Itachi had little trouble doing the same. Madara stopped on the street and watched as more Uchiha came at them. Itachi, go to your house and murder your parents, I will deal with these pests. Itachi could do nothing except obey. He entered his house and saw both his mother and father. Fugaku looked at him with anger. What is going on, Itachi? Fugaku asked. Makoto looked at Itachi and saw his blood-covered sword. Madara-sama has ordered the execution of the clan, he said coldly and raised his sword. Fugaku growled while Makoto looked confused. What are you talking about, Itachi? She asked. Itachi's eyes widened. You don't know. He turned to his father and glared at him, Sharingan blazing. Why didn't you tell her about our guest? He asked. Fugaku grabbed a kunai. She would just ask me to spare that pathetic demon child when we took over. She didn't need to know. Makoto looked horrified at the casual way her husband spoke about killing Naruto. Itachi, however, was furious. I knew you were a bastard, Fugaku, I have always known. Killing you will be easy. Fugaku charged at Itachi, who blocked the kunai with his sword and punched Fugaku in his face. He then slashed Fugaku across his chest, killing him. Makoto gasped and covered her mouth as her husband fell dead to the floor. She backed away as Itachi turned his eyes onto her. Her back touched the wall and he walked towards her. Even though her son was shorter than her, Makoto felt like she was looking at a towering monster. Itachi raised his sword and a single tear ran down his cheek. I'm sorry, he said. Makoto raised her arms to shield herself from the sword strike. But it never came. She opened her eyes and saw that Itachi had halted the strike an inch from her arms. His eyes were staring at her stomach. Itachi didn't want to believe what he saw. You're pregnant, he said. Before Makoto could respond, there was shouting outside the door. Oh Tucson. OKAASAN. Sasuke shouted. Itachi thought fast. Sasuke, get in here now. He turned around and grabbed his mother's shoulders, ignoring her flinch. Listen, Okasan, we have to get out of here. Soon Madara is going to come and he will kill you and Sasuke. You have to take Naruto and Sasuke to the Hokage tower. I will stall him as long as I can. The door opened and Sasuke, followed by Naruto, ran in. Oh Tucson. Sasuke shouted and rushed towards his father's dead body. Itachi pulled Makoto along and grabbed Sasuke. Listen, I will explain everything later, but you have to run. Itachi stopped and suddenly went pale. Before anyone could figure out what had happened, Naruto was sent flying into the wall. Naruto. Makoto shouted and rushed to the boy. Itachi let go of Sasuke, who stared at the stranger in the door. You disappoint me, Itachi. I gave you a chance to spare the life of your little brother and you reject my generosity? Madara said, looking at Itachi with his Sharingan. Itachi didn't bother to answer. Amaterasu. Itachi shouted and black flames hit Madara, who stumbled back screaming. Hurry, get out through the back door and run. Itachi said. Makoto knew better than to question her son when he was in Anbu mood. She grabbed both Naruto and Sasuke's hands and ran through the back door. Itachi grabbed his sword and ran after Madara. Just as he expected, Madara was completely unharmed. Itachi, that was very rude of you. You could have ruined my favorite cloak. Madara said. Go to hell, Itachi said. Madara sighed. I probably will. He glared at Itachi with his Sharingan. But I will kill your family first. He suddenly disappeared. Itachi's eyes widened in horror. No. He shunshined, body flicker, away. Makoto was running as fast as possible toward the exit of the compound. She ignored the dead bodies to the best of her abilities. The safety of her children was her top priority, both born and unborn. She stopped dead in her tracks when a figure appeared 10 feet in front of her. Madara waved at her. Hello. Sasuke and Naruto both got free of her grasp and threw a kunai at him, only for him to catch them effortlessly. He threw them back right into Naruto's legs, making him fall down. Makoto rushed over and wrapped her arms protectively around him. Aw, isn't that sweet, a mother protecting a child. Madara said and crunched down to Naruto's level. Hey kid, want to know a secret? Do you know why everyone hates you? Naruto looked at the masked man. Makoto paled. The reason is that you are a duh. That was all he said before a foot collided with his face, sending him into a nearby building. Itachi looked after him. Did I really hit him? He got his answer when Madara appeared behind him and stabbed him with a kunai. Itachi coughed up blood and fell onto his knees. Madara kicked him, sending him tumbling across the ground. Don't worry, I didn't hit a vital spot. Now just lie there and watch while I kill these three. He started walking slowly towards them. Itachi struggled to stand, but his body felt numb. Kuso. Damn it, he shouted. Sasuke stood up and looked at Madara. Go away, he said. Madara laughed. Sure kid, as soon as you and your Okasan are dead. Go away, Sasuke said louder this time. Madara could feel Sasuke's chakra level rising. He ignored it and kept walking. Suddenly Sasuke's eyes turned yellow and white chakra surrounded him. Everyone present stared at him in wonder. Get away from my family. Sasuke screamed and his chakra flew at Madara, who used his technique to dodge it. Only to get hit full force and got sent flying and screaming into a building. Makoto, Naruto and Itachi stared at Sasuke. Sasuke. Makoto said quietly. Just as suddenly as it appeared, the white chakra disappeared and Sasuke's eyes returned to their normal color. Sasuke collapsed onto one knee and was panting heavily. "Sasuke!" Naruto shouted and yanked out the kunais in his legs and tried to stand up only to fall down again. Makoto placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Don't strain yourself." She got up and walked over to Sasuke and picked him up before walking back to Naruto and bent down again. "See, Sasuke is okay," she said. Naruto calmed down slightly. Suddenly Madara appeared in the opening of the house and walked out. "Ha ha 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 ha, I can't believe it," he said. Itachi forced himself to stand and stood in front of his family, shielding them from Madara. "Itachi, you shouldn't strain yourself. That paralyzing poison will wear off by itself." Madara pulled out 2 kodachi and pointed one at Itachi. "Itachi, I got good and bad news." Thunder rumbled in the sky. "The good news is that I am going to let you and your remaining family live. The bad news is that I will be taking Sasuke." Itachi didn't wait and activated his Mangekyo Sharingan again. Amaterasu. Black flames again flew at Madara, but this time he disappeared and the flames set fire to the nearby buildings. "Shit!" Itachi cursed and dropped to his knees because of chakra exhaustion. Madara appeared again as a bolt of lightning lit up the sky. "It is over, give me the boy and you will be spared." He started walking towards them again. Makoto hugged Sasuke and Naruto tightly. Suddenly every cell in Madara's body told him to jump back. He did as the spot he stood on was hit by lightning. He turned his head to the left and saw a cloaked figure standing on the wall of the compound. "I would back off if I were you," he said in a childish tone. The person was short and sounded like a kid, so Madara drew the simple conclusion he was dealing with another brat. "Now who the hell are you?" The kid stretched out his right arm and lightning coursed around it. Suddenly the lightning took the shape of a spear. The pole was dark blue and the hilt was the same color and was decorated with gold. It had 3 blades, one pointing straight up and the other 2 were placed at the sides in a 45-degree angle. The blades themselves looked like they were made of silver as they shimmered. "I am Raijin, god of lightning," Madara snorted. "Well, be a god, baby god, and go away." Raijin jumped into the air and raised his spear into the air. Lightning struck the spear and he started falling toward the ground, aiming the spear at Madara, who leapt backwards. Raijin crashed into the ground but leapt into the air again. Madara sheathed his kodachis and started doing hand seals. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. Out of nowhere a large fireball flew at Raijin, who started spinning his spear. The flames didn't get past his spear that started crackling with electricity. He landed on a building and threw his spear into the air. Raiden. Shirai no Jutsu. Lightning element. Lightning strike. The spear hovered in the air and a blue glow surrounded it. Suddenly lightning bolts burst forth from it and rained upon Madara, who was hard-pressed to dodge. The boy jumped again and grabbed his spear and placed it on his back. He was surrounded by electricity and held out his left hand. A new spear made completely of lightning appeared. He dropped it and it levitated behind him. He did the same thing with his right hand and an identical spear appeared. He repeated the process until he had 10 spears floating behind him as he fell towards the ground. He grabbed his original spear and landed in front of Madara. Madara drew his kodachi and looked at the boy. Raijin charged at the masked Uchiha and attacked with his spear. Madara blocked with his kodachi and knocked the spear aside. He was forced to jump backwards when one of the floating spears flew at him. Madara made hand seals and launched another fireball. The lightning spears appeared in front of Raijin and stopped the fireball. Madara jumped over the spears and slashed at his exposed back. Raijin back flipped over Madara and drove his spear through him, only for him to disappear in a puff of smoke. He received a kick in the back and flew forward, skidding across the ground. He flipped onto his feet and glared at Madara. He sent his spears flying at him. Madara drew his second kodachi and slashed the first spear, destroying it. Then he proceeded to destroy the other spears. Madara sheathed his kodachis and made more hand seals. "You got some sparkly tricks there, brat. But I don't have time for this." Raijin gulped and raised his spear. This was bad. Madara suddenly stopped and looked towards the exit. "Whoops, looks like time's up." He turned to Itachi. "Well, Itachi, I guess I will have to come back for Sasuke another time." And he disappeared. Raijin looked towards the exit and jumped onto the wall. "Goodbye." And he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Itachi and everyone else was confused. They turned toward the exit and saw the Hokage and 20 Anbu approaching. This had been a weird and horrible day. Uchiha Makoto had had a very awful day, to put it simply. First, her husband and her other relatives had been killed except for her 2 sons. Her oldest son had been the one to kill her family and was going to kill her too until he somehow discovered she was pregnant. Then he had told her to take Sasuke and Naruto and run away. Makoto was very confused and tired, but even more worried about her youngest son Sasuke. He had somehow summoned a white chakra, sending their attacker. Yes, how could you forget the masked man who had tried to kill your sons and Naruto? Flying into a building before a second masked character appeared and saved them. Sasuke was sitting next to her on the hospital bed, leaning against her. His eyes were half closed as he stared ahead with a blank look on his face. The doctors had told her that he seemed to suffer from chakra exhaustion and shock but should recover after some rest. Sasuke had made little to no movement at all except for blinking. He had also been silent ever since the attack. Naruto was sitting on her other side looking at Sasuke with eyes full of worry and guilt. She could understand why he was worried, but why would he be guilty? Naruto had bandages around his thighs after the kunai wounds he suffered. Makoto's eyes darkened as she remembered the doctors. They had refused to look at Naruto's wounds, telling her that that thing was none of their concern. Itachi had slammed the doctor into a wall and threatened to have him arrested for disobeying orders from an Anbu captain. Speaking of Itachi, he was currently sitting on a chair between them and the door. He had said nothing since threatening the doctor to get him to help Naruto. Makoto was afraid of her own son. She was ashamed to admit it, but it was true. Suddenly the door opened, making Itachi and Makoto stiffen, but they relaxed when the Sandaime walked in. The old man seemed just as tired as her, maybe more. He looked over the people in the room before sighing. "I am sorry bother you after having such a rough night, but I need you to tell me what happened," he said in a gentle tone. Makoto looked down at the floor. What could she say? My oldest son just killed the rest of my family and then tried to save us from another attacker. Luckily, or not depending on how you see it, she didn't have to. Itachi answered for her. I killed the Uchiha clan except for the people in this room, Itachi said, making everyone except Sasuke stare at him. What? Naruto stuttered out. Sarutobi narrowed his eyes at Itachi. Why? He said simply. I killed my clan. Years ago Fugaku took me on a training trip on which I encountered a man who wished to be my teacher. Itachi said. He was a complete idiot, acting like a child, so I challenged him to show him to see what he could do. Itachi's hands trembled slightly. That man is horrifying. I couldn't hurt him no matter what I did. He became my teacher for the next couple of years. One day he spoke to me in the forest while I was alone. He told me that Fugaku was planning a coup. Makoto and Sarutobi's eyes widened. He told me that Fugaku was becoming more trouble than he was worth. The rest of the clan was equally annoying, he told me. He wanted to kill everyone, including Sasuke. Makoto put her hand over her mouth. So Itachi tried to save Sasuke. He gave me an offer. If I helped him kill the clan, he would allow me to spare one person of my choosing. Itachi said and sighed. He called it generosity. Itachi clenched his fist. Sarutobi lowered his head slightly. Itachi, why didn't you come to me and ask for help? Itachi laughed dryly. I would have made no difference. He can't be killed. If that stranger hadn't come, then we would have been killed. Sarutobi looked Itachi in the eyes. Who is this man, Itachi? Itachi looked at the floor and shook his head. He is an invincible immortal Uchiha Madara, the founder of the Uchiha clan. If you meant the other one, I have no idea. Sarutobi stared at Itachi. Uchiha Madara? That is impossible, Itachi. No, it isn't. He is Uchiha Madara, I am certain, Itachi said. Makoto had never seen her son so scared as right of this moment. That man with the orange mask, it was him, wasn't it? She asked. Itachi nodded. I failed to kill everybody except for Sasuke. So he was going to finish the job. Makoto hugged Sasuke closer to her. Sarutobi looked at Itachi again. What stopped you? He asked. A very small smile appeared on Itachi's lips. My new little sibling. Naruto at this point was very confused. Sibling? Naruto asked. Makoto placed a hand on her stomach. I see, she said quietly. The smile faded from Itachi's lips. So what now? He asked, looking at Sarutobi. I have murdered my clan and withheld information from the Hokage. Sarutobi closed his eyes. What has happened today is the following. Itachi returned home to find his clan massacred at the hand of a person claiming himself to be Uchiha Madara. Itachi fought against him but was unable to win and was saved by an unknown person. Hokage-sama? Itachi said, staring at the old man. You did all you could, Itachi, and killing traitors is not a crime. Sarutobi said. Makoto felt a pang in her heart at the Sandame's words. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Not waiting for an answer, the door was slammed open, revealing Hyuga Hinata and both of her parents. Naruto-kun, she said, and jumped onto the bed, hugging the blonde who weakly returned the hug. Sorry Hokage-sama, I couldn't stop my wife from busting in. Hiya, said, and Amy blushed a bit. Shut up, you were as worried as me when you heard they were in the hospital. Amy said. Makoto smiled at her friend. You should all get some rest, unless there is something else. He said, looking at Itachi. Itachi hesitated for a second before speaking. Sasuke used some sort of strange chakra and managed to hold of Madara for a minute. Sarutobi's eyes widened. Are you certain? He asked, and Itachi nodded. Sarutobi looked like he was choosing his words. Makoto-san. Makoto looked the Sandame in the eyes. Little Sasuke here may possess a second Kekkei Genkai. He said. The people in the room stared at Sarutobi like he had grown 3 heads. What? Makoto asked. What I am about to tell you is unbelievable, but I assure you that I am not joking. The old man said with absolute seriousness. On the day of the Kyuubi attack, after the Yondaime had killed the demon, the Shinigami appeared before the council. The other occupants of the room didn't know what to say. He told us that he was sorry for the loss of the Yondaime and promised that he would give Konoha a gift beyond comprehension. He told us that he would give chosen people of Konoha access to his power. And you believe that Sasuke is one of these people? Makoto asked, hugging Sasuke tightly. Sarutobi nodded. How can you be certain that this is the power the Shinigami spoke of, Hokage-sama? Itachi asked. He told us that we would be unable to miss it. Besides, what else could this possibly be? Sarutobi asked. Itachi nodded and looked at Sasuke and raised an eyebrow. Sasuke? He said. Makoto looked down at her son and saw that he seemed to be listening to their conversation. Sasuke-chan, how long have you been listening? She asked. Sasuke looked very tired. Since the beginning. He said. Before Makoto could ask anything else, Sasuke spoke up. Nissan, was our clan really full of bad people? He asked. Itachi nodded. Sasuke closed his eyes. I see. Makoto was worried now. Sasuke sounded like he was empty. Sasuke-chan, were they going to hurt Naruto? He asked next, making Makoto and Naruto's eyes widen. Yes, Itachi said. Sasuke opened his eyes and a tear ran down his cheek. Why? Why would a Tucson do something like that? He asked as he sobbed. Makoto hugged Sasuke as he cried into her shirt. Because I am a demon, right? Naruto said. The others stared at him. Naruto? Sarutobi said. That Madara guy was going to tell me why I am so hated in this village. I think he was going to say I was a demon. Before Sarutobi could stop him, Naruto continued. It's true, right? Why else would the village hate me so much and call me a demon and a monster? Naruto said. Everybody would be happier if I was dead, right? It's probably my fault that your family was killed too, right, Itachi? He said as he broke down into tears. Itachi and the others could only stare at him. This small child was convinced that he was the reason the Uchiha clan died. He was convinced he was a demon. Makoto couldn't stand it. She released her hold on Sasuke and grabbed Naruto into a hug. He cried into her shirt. Itachi had to use every single ounce of willpower to not go on a killing frenzy in the village. These bastard villagers, I should show them a thing or two. Stop saying stupid things. Sasuke and Hinata screamed at the same time, shocking the room into silence. Naruto stopped crying and looked back and forth between his friends. I don't care what some stupid orange-masked Uchiha wannabe jerk says, you are not a demon, Dobi. Sasuke said, staring Naruto straight in the eyes. Sasuke is right, and what do you mean everybody would be happy if you were dead? I would be really, really sad if you died, Naruto-kun. Hinata said with tears in her eyes. Naruto didn't know what to say. Hina-chan, Sasuke. He said quietly. They are right, Naruto-kun. Makoto said, making him look up at her. You are not a demon or a monster, and I would be really sad if you died. I believe that I speak for everybody in this room when I say that we all agree with Makoto. Hiya, said, showing one of his rare smiles. It was met with agreement from everybody in the room. Naruto sniffled once before whipping his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said. Hinata smiled and hugged the blonde who returned the embrace, making the adult smile. "I believe that is all for now, please try to get some rest all of you," Sarutobi said. "I think it would be best for you to spend the night at the Hyuga compound. I trust that you don't have any objections, Hiashi." Hiashi shook his head. "None at all, Hokage-sama. However, I believe the council should be made aware of what has happened tonight." Sarutobi nodded. "Yes, I suppose." He sighed. "What about Sasuke's new ability, Hokage-sama?" Itachi asked. Sarutobi thought about it for a moment. "I think it is best to just tell them instead of trying to hide it." Hey, Naruto said, getting everyone's attention. "What is Sasuke's new ability anyway?" he asked. Sarutobi looked a bit embarrassed for a moment. "I don't know." Itachi raised an eyebrow. "You don't know?" "No, the Shinigami was very vague on what this ability does," Hiashi answered, having been at the council meeting when the Shinigami appeared. Sasuke has a Kekkei Genkei that is super strong, but nobody knows what it does," Naruto said, making Sarutobi pull down his hat. "Yes, I suppose that is correct," Sarutobi said. "Now I think you should all head to the Hyuga compound to get some rest," he said in a tone that left no room for argument. Itachi stayed behind to give his testimony to the council. "Okasan," he said, making Makoto turn around. "Will you allow me to speak for the Uchiha clan on the meeting?" Makoto gave him a warm smile. "I trust you, Itachi," she said. Those words may not seem to mean much, but to Itachi they meant, "I forgive you." Itachi returned her smile with his own before walking off with the Sandaime and Hiashi. The council was quickly assembled. The clan heads of the Hyuga, Uchiha, Nara, Akamichi, Yamanaka, Aburame, and Inuzuka were all present, along with Sarutobi, his teammates, and Danzo. "I trust that everyone has been informed about the reason for this meeting?" Sarutobi took a long drag on his pipe before continuing. "Today the Uchiha clan was massacred by a single shinobi claiming to be Uchiha Madara. The council discussed back and forth what to do. Some wanted to put the man in the bingo book, others wanted to send hunter nins. But in the end they decided that they needed to place their resources at taking missions to compensate for the loss of the Uchiha clan and its shinobi." "Good, now that that is settled, let's move on to the next topic," Sarutobi said, surprising the people present. What more could there be to discuss? "The Shinigami's power has awakened in Uchiha Sasuke." The council members started talking about what should be done. Danzo made the first suggestion. "Well, the best thing to do would be to leave Sasuke in my care so we can find out what exactly he is capable of." "You mean turn him into a weapon for you to use?" Itachi said in a very cold voice, sending shivers up the spine of everyone present. "Not at all, Itachi-san. But Sasuke is now too important to just be left alone," Danzo said. "If I train him properly, he could very well be the strongest shinobi this village has ever seen." Itachi's Sharingan appeared in his eyes. "I don't care, my Oto-Oto is off limits." "It is not your choice, Itachi, if it is the council decides." That was all he could say before Itachi slammed him into the wall. "If you ever come close to my Oto-Oto, I will kill you," Itachi said with killer intent spilling from every cell in his body. "Please let him go, Itachi," Sarutobi said. Itachi dropped Danzo onto the floor, gasping for air. Itachi attacking a council member is a serious offense. Kaharu screamed. "I merely gave Danzo-san some healthy advice, Kaharu-san," Itachi replied. "I warn you to not do that again, Itachi-kun," Homura said. "I am an Anbu captain, I only take orders from Hokage-sama and not this council," Itachi replied coldly. "That is correct, but please don't attack another member of the council, Itachi," Sarutobi said after another drag on his pipe again. "Rest assured I will not allow Sasuke-kun to be used as a weapon." Itachi bowed at Sarutobi before sitting down again. "But Itachi, what do you believe would be the best action regarding Sasuke?" Sarutobi asked as Danzo took his seat again. "I believe it would be best to let Sasuke live his life as before. Let him be a kid," Itachi said. Sarutobi nodded. "I agree, if there is nothing more, then this meeting is done and you may all go home." The following 2 years had been very eventful for everyone involved. The second Amy found out that Makoto was pregnant, she started fussing over her. It stopped soon after when Hanabi thought it was unfair that she didn't have a little sibling and started demanding that her mother got her one. Hiyashi had opposed to it, saying that they still needed to take care of her. But since the Uchiha and Naruto were now living in the Hyuga compound, they had extra help. So Hanabi, backed up by Hinata, got her will through, and Amy was now expecting her third child. So 9 months later, Makoto gave birth to a little baby girl. She named her Hinote. 1 month later, Amy gave birth to a little baby girl as well, who she named Hikari. Naruto and Sasuke had made an agreement that they would both become stronger to protect their precious people, so they started training twice as hard. Itachi left the Anbu and became a Junin to be able to help Sasuke with his training more often. Naruto spoke to Guy and made the man cry with joy when he said he wanted to train even more than before. Guy and Lee had embraced the blonde, crying about the flames of youth. Speaking of Lee, the boy was practically a copy of Guy, wearing the same awful green spandex and orange leg warmers and even the same hairstyle. Lee and Naruto had built a strong friendship over the years, both of them trying to outdo the other. Lee did get along with both Hinata and Sasuke, but not to the same degree as Naruto. Naruto seemed to have a natural talent for making friends, and being adored by younger children. Just like Hanabi, who adored Naruto, Hinote and Hikari looked up to him and always called him Naru-ni. Makoto and the rest also noticed that Sasuke seemed to have hit a growth spurt. Makoto took him shopping for new clothes, of course, but they were also outgrown in less than a month. She bought new clothes with the same result. Makoto was worried about Sasuke, so she took him to a doctor who examined him. The doctor found out that Sasuke's growth was being slightly accelerated but couldn't find the reason. Sarutobi suggested that perhaps the Shinigami Kekkei Genkai strengthened the user's body. To remedy this, Makoto bought Sasuke clothes that were too big for him so he could grow into them. Sasuke didn't mind, since he felt guilty about making his mother spend money on new clothes for him. But Sasuke actually was very self-conscious about his height. He often slouched to try to hide it, but it became obvious when he stood next to Naruto or Hinata. It actually went to the point when Makoto found him crying in his room. "Sasuke-chan, what's wrong?" she asked as she knelt down next to her son. "Okasan, sob, am I a freak?" he asked. "Of course not, honey, why would you think that?" Makoto asked as she hugged Sasuke. "Because I am much taller than the rest of the kids in my class." Sasuke answered, hugging his mother. Makoto sighed and smiled at her son. "Don't be silly, honey, being tall doesn't make you a freak," she assured him, stroking his hair. Sasuke felt a little better after their talk but wasn't entirely convinced. "Sasuke Nissan," shouted a voice from the door. Hinote ran in and hugged her big brother. "Hey Nissan, can I have a piggyback ride?" she asked with those irresistible puppy dog eyes only children have. Sasuke smiled and let her climb onto his back. "You sure like piggyback rides, Imouto, little sister," Sasuke said, and Hinote giggled. However, the largest event in the span of those 2 years was the fact that Hinata awakened the SKG as well. When she and Naruto were out for a walk in the forest, they were attacked by a masked man. Naruto and Hinata fought him with everything they had, but he was too strong. The man was about to deliver a killing blow to Naruto when Hinata screamed in anger and white chakra sent the assailant flying through 6 trees. Both of them were shocked, to say the least. 5 Anbu with the Sandame in the lead arrived to see a glowing Hinata surrounded by white chakra and her normal lavender eyes replaced by pupil-less yellow eyes. One of the Anbu removed the mask on the barely conscious attacker to reveal one of the Hyuga branch members. The man was crying, "Please Hinata-sama, forgive me, I had no choice. The Hyuga council threatened to kill my wife and child if I didn't kill Uzumaki," the man said before finally passing out. Hinata and the rest of the people present were shocked. Sarutobi ordered one of the Anbu to take the man to the hospital while he walked over to Naruto and Hinata. The chakra around Hinata disappeared and she fell onto her knees. Naruto rushed over and held onto her. "Hinata-chan, are you okay?" he asked, sounding very worried. Hinata gave him a weak smile. "I am fine, Naruto-kun, I'm just tired," she said. Naruto smiled at her and placed her on his back. "I will carry you home, Hinata, don't worry, just try to get some rest." Hinata blushed but was too tired to argue and fell asleep quickly. Sarutobi, accompanied by 20 Anbu, arrested the Hyuga council and sent them to Ibiki for interrogation. 2 more years passed since the incident, and before anyone realized it, the Genin exam was at the door. Naruto was sitting in between Sasuke and Hinata waiting for Iruka and Mizuki to arrive so he could take the test. Academy life had not been easy for Naruto. Being unable to use ninjutsu, he was picked on by the other children. Normally if something like that happened, the teachers would talk to the children's parents to put an end to it. Of course, when said parents hate your very existence, it is not very efficient, even less when you are also hated by the teachers. Naruto was still feeling confident about passing the test. His friend Lee had passed the year before and he couldn't use chakra either. Naruto had gotten a new set of clothes as a gift from both Lee and Guy as an early graduation present. He was wearing the same orange leg warmers as his sensei and friend, but wore black pants with a shuriken holster on each leg, a black sleeveless shirt, and topped it off with a black vest with many pockets and an orange swirl on the back. Naruto looked to his right. Sasuke was in his brooding position, as he liked to call it. Because of his height and looks, he was the object of affection for the fangirls. He had tried to get them to stop by acting like an emo kid, but that had for some reason made it worse, to the point he was actually brooding because he found them so annoying. Speaking of height, Sasuke's growth spurt was still going strong. He was currently 5 feet tall. Sasuke had received clothes as a gift from his mother. He was wearing dark blue pants, a long-sleeved shirt in the same color, and topped it off with a black sleeveless coat. Naruto turned to his left and a small smile appeared on his lips. Hinata was sitting there poking her fingers together. They had been dating for 2 years. Just like Sasuke, Hinata was going through a growth spurt, but while Sasuke grew in height, Hinata grew in height and other things. Naruto got a little pink on his cheeks as he lowered his eyes from her face a little bit. She was wearing her normal blue pants and large jacket on her 5'2" frame, but you could definitely see that Hinata was more developed than the other girls in the class. Flashback. They had been sitting together under a tree in the Hyuga garden. This particular day had been very hot. Hinata was sweating because her jacket was not designed for such weather. "Come on, Hina-chan, take off your jackets, you're sweating," Naruto said. Hinata shook her head. "No thanks, Naruto-kun, I am fine." "Hinata, you're going to get a heat stroke, take off your jacket," Naruto said, looking up at her since she was taller than him. "No, I'm fine," she insisted. "Fine, have it your way," Naruto said, and before Hinata could react, he pulled down the zipper of her jacket and pulled it off. "Naruto-kun," Hinata said, blushing like a tomato. "There isn't that much. Better, Hina-chan," Naruto said, staring at her chest. Hinata covered herself with her arms, trying to hide her breasts from view. "She is not naked." "Wow, Hina-chan, I didn't know you were so big," Naruto said, blushing. Hinata turned even redder and looked at Naruto. "I have been trying to hide them," she said. "Why?" Naruto asked, looking up at her. This question of course made her blush even more. "The other girls have been spreading rumors that I've been using some sort of jutsu to make them bigger," she said, looking down. Naruto gritted his teeth. "Be a jerk to him, fine. Be a jerk to Hinata and you're dead. Don't listen to those stupid fangirls, they're just jealous," he said, trying to cheer her up. That did cheer her up slightly. "Thanks, Naruto-kun," she said, and removed her arms from her chest. Naruto looked down at her chest and blushed before looking away from her. "Don't mention it." Hinata smiled and scooted closer to Naruto so their arms were touching. "So do you like them?" she asked. Naruto went crimson red and started stuttering, causing Hinata to giggle. Flashback end. Hinata noticed Naruto looking at her. When he saw that, he blushed and turned away. Hinata's cheek got a little pink as she smiled. She didn't mind Naruto looking at her as long as it was him. Her thoughts were interrupted as Iruka and Mizuki walked into the classroom. The children immediately quieted down. This made Iruka happy because he normally needed to shout to get them to shut up. "Alright class, today is graduation day. I know some of you are nervous, so let's get this over with," Iruka said, looking at his clipboard. One by one the students were called into the room in the back to take their exam, and all of them came out wearing a Konoha Hite 8. Sasuke and Hinata had both passed and were sitting next to Naruto, giving him their support. "Naruto, you're last, follow me," Iruka said, walking out of the door with Mizuki. Naruto stood up and walked towards the door, and turned around and walked back to Hinata, giving her a kiss on the cheek. "See you later, Hina-chan," he said, and ran after Iruka, leaving a happy Hinata behind. Iruka had guided him to the back of the academy for his test. "Okay Naruto, the test is simple. You have to land 5 hits on me and not allow me to land 5 hits on you. Do you understand?" Iruka asked. Naruto grinned. I got it, Iruka-sensei. I got to hit you 5 times and not get hit 5 times. Exactly, now let's get started. Iruka said and got into a basic stance. Naruto placed his left arm behind his back and held his right arm in front of himself, the back of his hand facing Iruka. Mizuki stepped between them. Ready, begin. He shouted and jumped back. Naruto dashed straight at Iruka and jumped. Konoha Senpu. Leaf Whirlwind. He performed a 360-degree kick. Iruka was surprised at Naruto's speed and was forced to block with his arm. The impact sent a wave of pain through Iruka's arm, making him wince. Naruto twisted his body, sending a kick towards Iruka's head, forcing Iruka to block with his other arm. Naruto jumped back, and as soon as he landed he shot forward and punched Iruka in the stomach. Iruka's eyes widened as he was sent skidding backwards. Naruto didn't let up and chased after him. Iruka dodged the punch and jumped backward, dodging another kick. Iruka grabbed Naruto's arm and lifted him to throw him over his shoulder and was shocked when he couldn't. He looked down and saw Naruto's feet being surrounded by chakra, gluing him to the ground. Naruto used his teacher's shock and punched him in the gut before kicking him again, sending him skidding across the ground. Iruka and Mizuki were completely stunned. This boy, who wasn't even a genin, was completely beating Iruka a chunin into the ground. Shit, at this rate he might actually pass the exam. Mizuki thought. If he pass, I can't trick him into stealing the forbidden scroll. I have to do something. Naruto rushed at Iruka and attempted to punch him again. Iruka sidestepped and kneed Naruto in the stomach. Naruto back-flipped and landed on his feet, only to receive 2 punches in the head from Iruka and a kick in his ribs, knocking him down. Naruto rolled onto his feet and stared at Iruka. What the hell happened? He suddenly got faster. Iruka aimed another kick at Naruto, who ducked under it only to be sent skidding across the ground like Iruka before him. I am sorry, Naruto, that is 5 hits you fail. Iruka said. The shock was obvious on Naruto's face. Why, you got to be shitting me. I'm sorry, Naruto, you did well in the beginning, but you still need another year of practice. Iruka said. Wait, Iruka, we should let him pass. Mizuki said, making Iruka and Naruto look at him. He did manage to hit you 3 times, and that is very impressive for a genin. We can't do that, Mizuki. Naruto had to pass this test for a reason. If he can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu, then he won't make it. Iruka said. He turned to Naruto. Don't worry, Naruto, there is always next time. He placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder, but Naruto knocked it away and walked off. Naruto didn't want to stick around, so he jumped from roof to roof, not caring where he was going. He eventually stopped near the Hokage monument, looking up at the faces on the wall. Maybe it was not meant for me to be a shinobi. He said. Don't say that, Naruto. Mizuki said, landing behind him. You ran off before I could tell you about the other test. Naruto snapped around, looking at Mizuki, who smiled. I got you now, demon. When Naruto didn't come back together with Iruka, Sasuke and Hinata were immediately worried. Anyo, Iruka-sensei, where is Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, but had a sinking feeling that she already knew the answer. Iruka gave her a sad look. Naruto unfortunately failed the test, Hinata. What happened next was unexpected. That's bullshit. Hinata and Sasuke screamed, stunning the class. You have no idea how hard Naruto trains, there is no fucking way that he couldn't pass. Sasuke screamed. That's enough. I am sorry that Naruto failed, but that is the decision of me and Mizuki, so that's it. Iruka said. Well, obviously you need to re-evaluate your decision. Hinata said, giving Iruka a very cold stare. I agree, if you can't see that Naruto deserves to be a shinobi, then I don't think you can judge that we are ready either. Sasuke said and threw his Hite-8 onto the floor. I'm out of here, he said and jumped over the desk. Hinata threw down her own Hite-8 and walked after Sasuke. Wait, Sasuke-kun, you can't quit because of that stupid dead last. Sakura screamed, getting agreements from the other fangirls. That was the wrong thing to say. Oh god, that was the wrong thing to say. Hinata stopped mid-step and killer intent filled the air. She slowly turned towards Sakura and walked slowly towards the very scared girl. Hinata leaned forward, placing her hand onto the desk. You better keep your mouth shut about Naruto Haruno, or I will send you to the hospital. Hinata said calmly before walking away, following Sasuke out the door. The room was very quiet until Shikamaru sighed and muttered troublesome, getting him a slap on the head from Ino. Naruto was sitting in a clearing in the forest looking at the scroll he nicked from the Hokage tower. Sure, he couldn't use ninjutsu, but he was still interested in it. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, this sounds interesting. He muttered to himself. Wow, Omit Renge is here too, that's Guy Sensei's technique. Wonder what this Ura Renge is. Opening the gates, wow, this is some awesome techniques. Wait, you don't need hand seals and only basic chakra molding? Awesome. Naruto shouted and started reading about the techniques. Hehehe, Mizuki never said that I couldn't learn any jutsu from the scroll, only that I needed to bring it here. Hours later, Naruto was lying on the ground panting slightly when Iruka found him. So here you are, Iruka said. Yep, so did I pass Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked, grinning at his sensei. Iruka was not expecting such a reply, so he just stared at Naruto. What's with that look, sensei, did I pass or not? He asked again. Naruto, what the hell are you talking about? What the hell do you mean, what the hell am I talking about? I stole the scroll from the Hokage tower just like Mizuki-sensei told me to do. Naruto replied. Iruka quickly put everything together. Naruto, there is no such test. Suddenly Iruka was tackled by Naruto as a hail of kunais flew past where his torso was a moment ago. They both looked in the direction the attack came from and saw Mizuki sitting in a tree-branch. So you set this whole thing up, Mizuki? Naruto asked, glaring at Mizuki. I got a feeling you had a hand in me failing the graduation test too. So you do have a brain. Well, Naruto, that is really interesting, but you want to know something even more interesting? Mizuki asked smugly. Naruto's eyes narrowed. And what would that be? He asked as Iruka got back onto his feet, keeping a close eye on Mizuki. I can tell you why everyone hates you. Naruto's eyes widened and Iruka shouted, don't do it, Mizuki. Oh come on, Iruka, the little demon deserves to know. You see, Naruto, there is a law that forbids anyone from telling you. Mizuki said as he jumped away from a couple of shurikens thrown by Iruka. The law says that we are forbidden from telling you that 12 years ago the Yondaime Iruka had run up the tree and was fighting Mizuki hand to hand. Didn't kill the Kyuubi but sealed it into a child. Naruto was shocked. No, that can't be true, you're lying. He screamed as panic started raising in his chest. Mizuki managed to trip Iruka and punch in the face, sending him crashing into the ground. Mizuki landed in front of Naruto and grabbed a Fuma shuriken from his back. I am afraid it's true, Naruto, you are that child, you are the Kyuubi reincarnated. Naruto was completely shocked, he didn't even notice Mizuki rushing towards him. Now die, you demon fox. Suddenly a foot slammed into Mizuki's face, sending him flying into a tree. Mizuki shook his head trying to get rid of the stars. When he looked ahead again, his heart nearly stopped. In front of him in full Anbu armor minus the mask was none other than Uchiha Itachi. Hello, Mizuki, Itachi said in a cold voice that sent shivers up Mizuki's spine. Mizuki was shaking in fear as he stared at the Xanbu. God damn it, what the hell should I do now? Mizuki thought, trying to think of a way to get out of the situation. Naruto was surprised when he felt a pair of arms wrap around him. Hina-chan. He whispered. Naruto-kun. She whispered back. Hinata-chan, did you hear? Naruto asked, fear grasping his heart. I did, Naruto-kun, and I don't care. You're the same Naruto you always been. She said, tightening the embrace. She is right, Dobi. Naruto looked up and saw Sasuke standing next to him. Don't let some traitor convince you otherwise. Naruto couldn't help it, tears rolled down his cheeks. Thank you, he said. Itachi fought back the smile that was threatening to appear on his face. Suddenly Mizuki pulled out a vial from a pouch on his leg and opened it before gulping down its content. Suddenly Mizuki's chakra spiked and his muscles bulged. Ha 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 ha. Yes, yes, what power, he screamed as his transformation was finished. The three children were shocked at the sight. Iruka stared at his former comrade. Mizuki, what have you done? Now Itachi, with this power I will kill you and take the forbidden scroll, and then I will become a god among shinobi. Mizuki said with pure madness in his eyes. Itachi merely blinked. Feel free to try. Mizuki's face turned into an expression of complete anger as he turned into a blur and headed straight towards Itachi. He pulled back his arm to deliver a punch to Itachi's jaw, only for Itachi to sidestep and knee Mizuki in the stomach before striking him 3 times in the face, breaking his jaw and knocking him out. Wow, was all Naruto could say, and the others agreed. Suddenly 10 Anbu landed in the area. Uzumaki, you are under arrest, please come with us without struggle. One of them said. Itachi stepped in front of Naruto and his friends. That won't be necessary, Anbu-san, Mizuki is the true culprit, he said and gestured at the unconscious Mizuki. The Anbu exchanged glances. I see, said the leader and pulled out his blade. Kill the demon, he screamed, and the 10 Anbu charged Naruto. Naruto and Hinata immediately got onto their feet and got into the stances for their respective taijutsu. Itachi cursed, moving through hand seals faster than anybody could see, and cried out a jutsu. Kaden. Gukaku no Jutsu, great fireball technique, launching a massive fireball at the approaching Anbu, who replaced themselves with logs in the last second. A kunai with an attached explosive note landed in the middle of the group, forcing them to leap apart as it exploded. Sasuke and Hinata both received a kick in the head, knocking them onto the ground. Hinata, Sasuke, Naruto screamed. What the hell do you think you are doing? Itachi asked, glaring at the 5 Anbu in front of him with his blazing Sharingan. The demon must die for the good of Konoha, one simply said before they charged Itachi, who blocked, dodged and countered the blows. Naruto dodged the attacks as best he could until one of the Anbu slashed him across his stomach and kicked him into a tree. Die, demon, he screamed and launched 2 Fuma shuriken at the dazed Naruto. Naruto looked to his right and saw another Anbu approaching Hinata and raising his katana to strike. No, he thought, no, don't touch her. I must save her, he screamed inside his head. He twisted in the air and kicked away the approaching projectiles. He pulled of his leg warmers and removed weights from both of his legs. He dropped the weights just as the Anbu who threw the shurikens appeared in front of him. Do you think that will save you, demon? He screamed and kicked at Naruto. Just as the weights hit the ground, Naruto disappeared, shocking the Anbu, who suddenly received a kick in the head, knocking him out. The weights hit the ground, creating a massive explosion of dust. Sasuke was on his feet and kicked the distracted Anbu in the head and flashed through hand seals. Kaden. Gukaku no Jutsu. The dazed Anbu almost got hit by the attack and barely escaped by jumping to the side. Sasuke cursed as he was forced to dodge a hail of shurikens. Hinata rolled to the side, dodging a sword strike from the apparently female Anbu, Byakugan. She said, activating her Kekkei Genkei, dodging another sword strike. Hinata attacked using her family taijutsu, but the Anbu was out of her league and dodged with ease and kicked her in her stomach. She raised her blade. Die, you little demon-loving whore, she said, and struck Hinata. Naruto screamed as he ran at top speed towards the Anbu. I won't make it. I need more speed, Please work. First gate Kaimon Kai. Naruto could feel chakra running through his coils at an accelerated pace. So much power, 2 no, 3 no, 10 times more than before. He could hear a great roar in the back of his mind, and suddenly white chakra burst forth from his body, covering the entire clearing. The combat ceased immediately as everyone stared at Naruto. Itachi had killed the 5 Anbu he was fighting and was shocked. Naruto, you. The Anbu about to kill Hinata stopped as she turned to see the demon covered by white chakra and his eyes glowing yellow. What? Was the last thought as Naruto punched her in the face, crushing her skull. He disappeared and appeared next to Sasuke, kicking the Anbu in the head, snapping his neck. The remaining Anbu turned and started to run away, only for Naruto to appear in front of the leader and kick him into the sky. He appeared hovering under him and poked him in the spine. I don't care if you attack me, but touch my family and I will kill you. Naruto pulled out ropes from his pouch and wrapped them around the Anbu and twisting him upside down. Omid Renge. Naruto shouted and started spinning and slammed the Anbu into the ground. He glared at the 2 retreating Anbu. He started doing hand seals. I don't know, but it feels like it will work. Kaden. Housenkin no Jutsu, mystical fire flower technique. He shoot 5 fireballs, hitting one of 3 fleeing Anbu who fell down and didn't get up, but the last one escaped. Naruto stood in the center of the clearing, panting as the white chakra died down and his eyes returned to their normal blue color. Naruto was slowly calming down and he realized what he had done. He looked down at his blood-covered hands and screamed. Hinata rushed over and wrapped her arms around him. It's okay, Naruto, it's okay, shish, she said, trying to calm him down. Naruto broke down and started crying on her shoulder. Suddenly he screamed again and clutched his chest. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Naruto-kun, Naruto-kun. Hinata screamed as he passed out. He has a fever, her burning up. Hinata screamed as Itachi, Sasuke and Iruka rushed over. Naruto was currently lying on a bed in the hospital. He was sweating badly and making sounds of pain, and his breathing was raspy. Hinata was sitting on a chair on the side of his bed holding his hand. Hinata looked like she would cry any second. Sasuke, who stood behind her, put a hand on her shoulder as a comforting gesture. Outside the room, Sarutobi, Itachi, Makoto, Hiashi and Iruka were talking. "What is wrong with him?" Makoto asked. Sarutobi shook his head. "They say he has high fever and his muscles seem to be breaking down." Makoto put a hand over her mouth. Itachi clenched his fist. "So what do we do?" he asked. "I don't know. The doctors have never seen anything like this." Sarutobi replied. "There must be something we can do?" Hiashi said. Before Sarutobi could reply, an Anbu wearing a dog mask appeared beside him. "Hokage-sama Danzo have called an emergency meeting with all of the clan heads and wish that you are present." Sarutobi sighed. "Itachi and Hiashi-san, would you both accompany me to the meeting?" After receiving a nod from both of the clan heads, Sarutobi turned to Iruka. "Iruka, please stay here and watch over the children and Makoto." He turned to the dog-masked Anbu. "Dog, go find Guy and then you two will help Iruka." Dog nodded and disappeared. "Do you think that will be necessary, Hokage-sama?" Iruka asked. Sarutobi sighed. "Better to be safe than sorry, Iruka," he said, and walked off with Itachi and Hiashi. Hokage Tower meeting room. The entire council was gathered in the room, wondering what the point of this meeting was. They would rather been home with their families, and it looked like a storm was coming. Sarutobi took a drag on his pipe before turning towards Danzo. "So Danzo, what is the purpose of this meeting?" he asked, eyeing the one-eyed man cautiously. "It has come to my attention that Uzumaki Naruto stole the Forbidden Scroll and killed multiple Anbu, and yet he is not to be put on trial?" Danzo said. Sarutobi narrowed his eyes. Naruto was tricked into stealing the scroll by Mizuki, who also sabotaged his genin test with genjutsu. Naruto cannot be punished for that. As for the Anbu, they were traitors and tried to not only kill him but also his friends. There was some mumbling amongst the council but no objections. Danzo nodded. "I agree, but that is not the only reason I called this meeting." "Oh? Then do tell us what the other reason is," Hiashi said with a fake well-mannered voice. "Hokage Dono, is it true that Naruto also awakened the SKG tonight?" Danzo asked. There was surprised mumbling from the council. "Yes, it is," Sarutobi replied. "What are you after, Danzo?" he thought, eyeing the man with great suspicion. First Uchiha Sasuke, secondly Hyuga Hinata, and now Uzumaki Naruto. Perhaps this is not the SKG but a demonic taint from Kyuubi. Danzo said. "Don't be ridiculous, Danzo," Itachi said, glaring at the man. "It is not ridiculous, Itachi. Think about it. First, Sasuke gains a strange new ability after spending a lot of time with Uzumaki Naruto. Then after another long period of time, Hinata also develops this ability. Both of the children that have spent time with Uzumaki have gained strange chakra. You have no evidence of these claims, Danzo," Hiashi said. "And none of you have any evidence that I am wrong," the one-eyed man replied coldly. "We can only assume that this is the power of the Shinigami, we have no proof. In fact, the idea that Uzumaki is in fact a demon and is planning to weaken Konoha is more likely." Sarutobi glared at Danzo. "How so, Danzo?" The same night that the Uchiha clan was murdered, Sasuke gains a new ability that allows him to repel the intruder that even Itachi could not defeat. Now he could be planning to do the same to the Hyuga clan. Hiashi slammed his palm against the table. "You speak nothing but theories, Danzo." "You are correct, Hyuga-san, but how do we, the council and the Hokage, know that you or Itachi are not being controlled?" he asked. Itachi and Hiashi narrowed their eyes at the man. "Those are very serious accusations, Danzo," Hiashi said, "but they are not completely illogical." Aburame Shibi said, pushing up his glasses. "Shibi-san?" Itachi said, looking at the Aburame. "I am not saying that Danzo is correct. I am merely saying that his thoughts have sense of logic to them." The Aburame explained. "To quote my son, this is troublesome, but we need to consider that this may be true." Nara Shikaku said, sighing. "A genin cannot defeat an Anbu, and certainly not more than one." "You cannot be serious," Hiashi said. "I am sorry, Hiashi, but we should investigate this matter very carefully." Kaharu said, I think this council should take a vote. Homura said, I propose that Hyuga Hiyashi and Uchiha Itachi should not be allowed to take part in any council meeting until we had enough time to investigate if there is any point to Danzo's theories. If it is possible that I am correct, then we should also discuss what should be done. Danzo said. Sarutobi looked at his former teammate and then looked at Danzo. You scumbag, he thought. At the hospital, Makoto had gone home to help Amy watch over the younger children. Hinata and Sasuke stayed behind together with Iruka, Guy and the dog-masked Anbu. Hinata sat in the same position as before, holding Naruto's hand while Sasuke had taken to staring out the window. Iruka was standing outside the door together with Guy, wishing he was inside. Dog was leaning against the wall reading a little orange book. The door opened and Sarutobi, Hiyashi, Itachi followed by Guy and Iruka walked in. How did it go, Hokage-sama? Dog asked, putting away his book. Horrible, Danzo have managed to turn the council partly against Naruto. Sarutobi said, making the room tense. Who is this Danzo? Sasuke asked. He is an old warhawk who doesn't believe in peace. Itachi said, looking very displeased. But what does he have against Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, but she had a feeling she already knew. The same thing as the rest of the idiots in this village. Hiyashi said. He also managed to make sure neither me nor Itachi will be able to defend at the council meetings. The Hyuga hide said, anger practically oozing from him. How did he do that? Iruka asked. He has made the council suspicious. They have started doubting that Naruto isn't the damn fox and they think the SKG might be the work of Kyuubi. So because of that they believe that Hiyashi and I are brainwashed. Itachi said. Not to mention that they are now suspicious of you too as well. He added, looking at his little brother and Hinata. That is just plain ridiculous. Dog said. Sarutobi sighed. Naruto just doesn't seem to be able to get a break. He said. Is his condition improving? Itachi asked. Hinata smiled. I think so actually. He is breathing easier and his fever is much better and he doesn't seem to be in pain. I spoke too soon, it would seem. Sarutobi said, smiling ever so slightly. Hokage-sama, what exactly is his condition? Guy asked. His muscles are breaking down and he has a fever. The latter seem to be letting up. Sarutobi replied. What about his muscles? Guy asked, looking over his pupil. The doctor will tell us when he arrives. The old man replied as there was a knock on the door. It opened and an old white-haired man stepped inside. Hello Hokage-sama, you wished to have me examine young Naruto again? He asked. Sarutobi nodded and the doctor walked over to Naruto and performed some hand seals. He placed his now glowing hand on Naruto's chest. His eyes widened. I don't believe it. What's wrong? Hinata asked, looking worried. His muscles aren't breaking down anymore, they seem to be recovering. The doctor said. The people in the room were shocked. So he's going to be okay? Hinata asked. If his body doesn't start breaking down again, then yes, he will be fine. The doctor said. Hinata let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Thank Kami. So first Naruto-kun's muscles broke down only to rebuild themselves? Guy said. The doctor turned and looked at the spandex ninja. Yes, that would be correct. Just like anyone's muscles would do after training. Guy continued. What are you suggesting, Guy? Sarutobi asked. I have a theory, Hokage-sama. The SKG strengthens the user's body, so perhaps Naruto-kun is going through the same thing as Sasuke-kun or Hinata-san, just much quicker. Hiyashi scratched his chin. I think you may be onto something, Guy-san. But why would Naruto-kun have such drastic effects while I and Sasuke didn't? Hinata asked. Perhaps Naruto's SKG had been ready to awaken for a long time but it's been held back. Itachi suggested. But what could possibly? Iruka said but stopped and looked at Naruto's stomach. Just my thought. Itachi said. The Kyuubi probably didn't want to give Naruto any power except its own. But doing something like that would cause side effects, perhaps the inability to use jutsu. Guy said. That would be a very logical explanation. The doctor said. Dr. Hoshi, I trust that you will speak about this to no one. Sarutobi said. Of course, now if you excuse me Hokage-sama, I have other patients I need to check up on. The doctor said and was dismissed with a wave from Sarutobi. So Naruto couldn't use jutsu because of the damn demon. Sasuke said and clenched his fist. Yes, that makes perfect sense since he could use a fire jutsu after awakening the SKG. Guy said, smiling proudly. He was also able to use the Omit Renge I taught him. I figured you were to blame for that guy. Dog said and pulled out his book again. Sarutobi looked at Naruto before making a decision. Hiyashi-san, I believe it would be best to take Naruto to the Hyuga compound. Hiyashi blinked and looked at the Hokage. Do you believe the council will try something? Sarutobi looked at Hiyashi. It is possible that information may slip out to the public, he said. Hiyashi narrowed his eyes. I see. 3 days later, Sarutobi had been correct. The next day the public had demanded that the demon was to be executed. There had been attacks on Sasuke and Hinata as well, but only civilians so far. Makoto and Amy had been absolutely furious. They had beaten the attackers into a bloody pulp and the Anbu had been too scared to interfere. Hiyashi feared that the public may eventually try to attack the Hyuga compound, so he had increased the security around the compound. The poor man nearly had a heart attack when he walked down the hallway and saw Hinata lying on the floor outside Naruto's room with blood on her clothes. He screamed and rushed over to her as Amy came and saw her oldest daughter lying there. She also screamed and rushed over. The screams had brought half the compound armed and ready to fight, with Itachi and Sasuke in the lead. What happened? Itachi asked calmly, observing the situation. I found her like this. Where is the wound? I can't see it. Hiyashi said, trying to see where the blood came from. Amy bent closer and heard her daughter mumbling. Wait, she is saying something. She placed her ear over Hinata's mouth. Amy raised an eyebrow. Naruto-kun is. She said. Everyone's sweat dropped. What? Itachi said. Sasuke looked into Naruto's room and his eyes widened in shock. Dobi? He said. The others present turned and looked at Naruto, clad only in boxers. Well, he looked like Naruto. The same blonde hair, blue eyes, whisker marks and grin, but 2 feet tall, and his muscles were now much more defined and toned. Hey, what's up guys, miss me? He asked with his trademark grin on his face. Makoto was the first to recover and walked towards him. And Naruto-kun, you look different. Naruto's grin got wider. Yeah, pretty awesome, huh? The SKG really rocks, he said. Makoto smiled at him before pulling him into a tight hug. Don't scare me like that again, you baka, she said. Naruto was surprised by her hug but returned it. Hiyashi smiled and dismissed everyone. He picked up Hinata and placed her on Naruto's bed. It is good to see you're awake, Naruto-kun, he said and turned to look at the boy. I suspect that you want to know what's been happening. Naruto shook his head. No need, Hiyashi-san. I could hear you while I was in the hospital. Hiyashi raised an eyebrow. Okay, once you feel that you recovered, Hokage-sama wished to speak to you in his office. The Hyuga head said and walked out. It's good to see you awake again, Naruto, Itachi said and left with Sasuke followed by Makoto. Amy walked to the doorway but turned and smirked at Naruto. Don't do anything inappropriate to my daughter, Naruto. I am too young for grandchildren, she said and giggled as Naruto protested, waving his arms around. Once Amy left, Naruto sat down on the bed and gently shook Hinata awake. Hina-chan. Hina-chan. Wake up, Hina-chan, he said. Hinata groaned and slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Naruto, she blushed and sat up. Hello, Naruto-kun, she said, trying to keep her eyes from wandering over his body. I take it that you like what you see, he said and flexed his arms, making Hinata blush. Why, yes I do, she said, poking her finger together. Naruto grinned and gently took her hands in his. That is a very cute habit, Hina-chan, but you shouldn't do it. Hinata nodded, but when she looked into Naruto's eyes she stopped. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? She asked. Naruto blinked. What do you mean, Hina-chan? I am fine. Hinata tilted her head slightly. Naruto-kun, I have known you since we were kids. I can tell when something is bothering you. I am serious, Hina-chan, I am fine, he said with an obviously fake smile. Naruto-kun, she said and placed her hand on his cheek. It's not good to keep things bottled up, please tell me. Naruto looked into her eyes and slowly his eyes started to water. I killed them, he whispered as a tear ran down his cheek. Hinata understood immediately. She hugged him tightly. You did nothing wrong, Naruto-kun. They tried to kill us all and you stopped them, she said, rubbing his back trying to calm him down. Naruto started crying and hugged Hinata tightly. But I killed them so easily, I didn't feel anything. You're crying now, you're feeling now, she said. Naruto-kun, Oda-sama said that killing does not make you a monster. But when you kill without feeling anything, then you are a monster. Hinata said, trying to make him feel better. It did make him feel better. Naruto whipped his eyes with the back of his hand and smiled at Hinata. Thank you, Hina-chan. Hinata returned the smile and hugged him. Anytime, Naruto-kun. Later on, Naruto tried to get dressed only to discover that his clothes were too tight for him. He was really sad because his gift from Lee and Guy didn't fit anymore. Makoto consoled him and told him that she would have them fixed by a tailor. So Naruto, wearing some of Sasuke's clothes followed by Itachi, walked towards the Hokage tower. The thing he instantly noticed was that the villagers' glares were even more hate-filled than before. Many of them were wielding various sharp pointy objects. I didn't think it would be this bad, Naruto said with a great amount of sadness in his voice. Itachi looked down at him. Don't let them get to you, Naruto. Naruto smiled slightly. This seemed to piss off one of the villagers, who threw a stone straight at Naruto. Naruto merely caught it and glared the villager in the eyes before crushing the stone into dust. Don't do that again, he said coldly, making the villager stumble backwards, falling on his ass. This seemed to keep the rest of the villagers in control as they continued towards the Hokage tower. They knocked on the door of the Hokage's office and, after hearing, "Enter," they stepped inside. Sarutobi looked up from the papers he was signing to look at his visitors. A smile spread across his lips when he saw Naruto. "Ah, Naruto, good, please sit down," the old man said, gesturing for a chair in front of his desk. Naruto did as instructed. "Hey old man, how's the paperwork?" Naruto asked, smiling at the elder man. Sarutobi kept smiling, but it was a little strained. "It does keep on coming no matter what I do. So the paperwork is fine," he said, making Naruto chuckle. "Naruto, as much as I enjoy having you in my office, we have little time." Sarutobi's manner changed to complete seriousness so quickly that Naruto stared in surprise. "What's wrong, Hokage-sama?" Naruto asked. Sarutobi almost fell out of his chair at the respectful manner Naruto demonstrated. Naruto noticed this and grinned. "What? I can be respectful if I feel like it." Sarutobi coughed in his hand and sat up straight again. "That is nice to know, Naruto. However, we really must hurry," he said, and looked Naruto straight in the eyes, making the blonde sit up straight in his chair. "Naruto. You have an anago. Elder brother." Of all the things in the world Naruto had expected, this was not one of them. He sat in the chair with a shocked expression on his face. What?" he said so quietly that Sandame almost didn't hear him. "But how? Who is it? Where is he? Is he alive? Is he hurt? Naruto fired of question after question in a panicked fashion, almost hyperventilating. Itachi grabbed Naruto's shoulders. Naruto, calm down, you need to calm down," he said. "Calm down? How the hell can I calm down?" he screamed, glaring Itachi in the eyes. "Naruto, please try to calm down, I will explain everything," Sarutobi said. Naruto took a couple of deep breaths and slowly calmed down. He slumped down into the chair. Sarutobi sighed. "Good. You see, Naruto, long ago on the day of the Kyuubi attack your family died." Naruto nodded. "I figured as much," he said. Sarutobi almost winced at the emptiness of Naruto's voice. "I thought your anago died as well, but somehow he survived." "Why did you think he died?" Naruto asked. Sarutobi looked down for a moment. "The Kyuubi spit a giant fireball at the hospital where he was located together with your Okasan," Sarutobi said. "We never found his body, but the odds of surviving something like that." Naruto didn't say anything for a while. "So how do you know that he is alive?" Sarutobi opened a drawer and pulled out a scroll. "Because he gave me this scroll 3 days ago, telling me to give it to you." Naruto's head snapped up and he snatched the scroll out of the Sandame's hand and opened it. "Dear Uto, if you are reading this scroll, then it means the Sandame have told you about me. I am sure that you are confused and maybe even angry. I can't say I blame you. You are probably wondering where I have been and why I wasn't there for you when you needed me. Let me start from the beginning. When the Kyuubi attacked and the Yondaime took you to seal that infernal demon, I was together with Okasan. She was so worried about you, and so was I. I may only have been 3 years old, but even then I understood how dangerous the sealing was. Then he came. Eiwa Nin had somehow sneaked into the village during the attack. He killed Okasan right in front of me before casting some sort of genjutsu over me." Naruto felt anger swell inside of him. The man had apparently used some sort of memory-altering ninjutsu. Shortly afterwards he took me from the village. He and his group altered my memories, making me believe Konoha murdered my family. They trained me and performed a certain experiment on me. Naruto had the strange feeling his brother laughed at this part. They tried to make me into a weapon to destroy Konoha. But then it happened, my memories returned. I remembered everything. How they killed our Okasan and lied about my past. I was 10 years old at the time. I have never been so angry, my rage took over completely. I confronted the people who claimed to be my family. I found out they held no love for me, they wanted me for their sick evil purposes. Just so they could take revenge against Konoha. Naruto could feel the anger in the words written in the scroll. I am not proud about what I did after that. I killed them. I made sure they died as painfully as physically possible. Then I remembered you. I rushed towards Konoha. I ran as fast as my legs could carry me. I snuck into the village and found you. You were happy, smiling, laughing and playing with your friends. I was shocked when I found out the Uchiha clan had taken you in. They always seemed so cold. I couldn't do it. I had no right to be part of your life. If I came then I knew I would just mess up your happy life. So I left. I just want you to be happy, Naruto. I truly do. Naruto had tears in his eyes after reading the last part. It was a year later when I felt something strange. I couldn't describe it, but I knew I had to go back to Konoha. I rushed back and snuck in again. I arrived at the Uchiha compound and saw a masked man who looked like he was trying to kill you. Naruto felt his heart pounding hard in his chest. It can't be. I fought him. As you remember, I managed to hold him off long enough for the Hokage to get his wrinkled ass over there. I stayed behind afterwards to make sure you were okay. After that I left once again. But I returned 3 days ago and now I have seen the true face of Konoha. Senile stupid fools who blame you for the tragedy of the Kyuubi attack. I decided to leave this letter for you, to let you know I am out here. I have seen the genuine love that your new family and friends give you. Do not doubt it, Naruto, it is real. But Konoha is rotten. They will kill you the first chance they get. Don't die on me. I am sure you have more questions, but I cannot tell you everything in this letter, it is too dangerous. If you want to know more about our parents, our clan, or perhaps even me, then come seek me out. I will be there should you need me. Your loving Aniki Namikaze Shinkumaru aka Raijin. Naruto stared at the letter for a very long time afterwards. It was him, he said quietly. Him? Itachi repeated. On the day of the massacre. Raijin was my Aniki. Naruto said as tears rolled down his face. He came to save me. Aniki, he said as he sunk onto his knees, clutching the letter tightly against his chest. Itachi was shocked. He came to save his Oto-Uto. Itachi bent down and hugged Naruto, trying to console him. Sarutobi stood up and walked around his desk. He bent down to Naruto's eye level. Naruto, I am so sorry, but I can't let you rest just yet. Naruto looked up at the old man. I have assigned you on a genin team together with Hinata and Sasuke. You are all going on a trip. Naruto was confused. Trip? Why? Sarutobi smiled. You three are going to discover the ability of the SKG. Naruto and Itachi's eyes widened. Later at the Hyuga compound. Naruto walked in through the front door utterly exhausted. Itachi had gone to the south gate to meet up with their new sensei. He walked in and saw Hinata, Sasuke, Amy, Makoto and Hiyashi standing in the hall. Sasuke and Hinata had backpacks on their backs and a third one was resting on the floor, clearly meant for him. So you heard? He asked. He got a nod from both of them. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Naruto shook his head. No, I am very tired. He said. Makoto walked over and knelt down to his level. I had your outfit fixed and I bought some new clothes for you too. Naruto smiled as best as he could. Thank you, Makoto-san. Makoto smiled and pulled out a scroll. Naruto. After I saw you lying in the hospital I realized that you aren't just Sasuke's best friend. Naruto, to me you are a son. Naruto felt a lump in his throat. Naruto, these are adaptation papers, I had them signed by the Hokage yesterday. You are legally my son. It was too much. Naruto had just found out he had a brother and now he officially had a family as well. He couldn't keep the tears from falling. OKAASAN. He cried out and wrapped his arms around Makoto, crying against her shoulder. Makoto smiled and hugged him tightly. Everyone else smiled at the sight. That's all for now. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments.